Hi everyone, it's Michael. I'm so excited to do this video because I have had my eye on this plant for quite some time, but I finally bit the bullet and bought myself a brand new Maxillaria Tenufolia. So this is the plant that allegedly smells like pina colada or coconut, so I'm really excited to grow this and see if that is the case. Now that being said, this may seem weird coming on the heels of my most recent post about determining whether or not to immediately transfer your new orchids into semi-hydroponics. With my Paphiopedilum, I decided against it because it was actively flowering and it was not in active growth mode. That being said, this is kind of the inverse perspective. This one I'm going to immediately convert to semi-hydroponics because of a few reasons. If you look down into the potting medium, you can see it's old, it's weathered, and it's kind of starting to decompose a little bit. So there's the potential that if I leave the plant in this potting medium, it's going to do more harm than good. But beyond that, you can see that the pseudobulbs on the plant itself are starting to shrivel a bit, which tells me that it's struggling to properly hydrate itself in its current setup. That being said, it is an active growth, it is a prime candidate for repotting, so let's just go ahead and jump in. And I'm going to go ahead and describe my toolkit like I usually do. You know, I think I'm just eventually going to just do a video about my toolkit so I don't have to explain it each time I do the video. Let me know your thoughts on that. But working left to right, this is my Physan 20 solution. It is 1 teaspoon per gallon of water. So that is mixed down and in my spray bottle. Here I have my alcohol, water, and dish soap solution. Again, the concentration on this is 50% water, 50% rubbing alcohol, 1 tablespoon of dish soap. I prefer Blue Dawn. This is some rubbing alcohol to sanitize my cutting tools, just in case I need to trim any dead or broken roots. My big case of leca beads. I have my Physan solution here as well. This is the container that I have selected for my new plant, and I just think it's so cute. I drilled the holes in, and I think it's going to be really darling. And then over here, what I have is my fertilizer, my Kelpmax, and then the combination of the two. So the way that I do this is 1 gallon of water with 1/8 teaspoon of the fertilizer and 1 teaspoon of the Kelpmax. So I'll link all of these products below. And then here is where I'm going to soak the plant, and here is where I'm going to go through the process of removing medium and trimming the roots. So let's clear up the space and get started. The first thing I'm going to do in this process is soak my plant. Now the objective of doing this is to loosen the existing potting medium from the root system. And rather than using just water, I'm going to do that with the Physan 20 solution because that'll help sanitize at the same time. And multitasking, although it's not something I'm typically great at, is something I can do in this case. So now that the plant is soaking, what I'm going to do is take my alcohol and dish soap solution, and I'm going to go ahead and just spray all of the leaves and the pseudobulbs to make sure that if there are any insects, anything that came riding in on this plant that I did not want to introduce to the rest of my collection is killed on contact. Beautiful. So now I'm just going to go ahead and set a timer for 15 minutes, and we will come back when that is all done. Okay, Google, set a timer for 15 minutes.
Second timer for 15 minutes, starting now.
All right, guys, 15 minutes is up, so I'm going to go ahead and begin the process of removing the old potting medium. So as always, it's good to give the pot just a gentle squeeze to kind of loosen things up, but I have a sneaking suspicion this one's not going to fight me too much on this. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull, and I was right, came right out. So it's actually doing better than I thought it would be doing. You can see the root system has started to wrap around the bottom. So I'm going to bring you in closer on that just so you can see. But it's definitely time to repot this guy because he's starting to go in circles with himself. We want to give him a little more space to grow. So now I'm just going to start the process of picking out the medium. All right, guys, so I did the best I could, but you can see at the bottom there's a few pieces that are just desperately clinging to the root system. So I'm not going to pull those off because it will actually damage the root system and it'll cause it a little bit of trauma. And the last thing I want to do is cause trauma to this plant because it's going to be a little stressed out when I place it into a different growing method. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave those for the time being, and I'm going to give this guy a quick rinse in the sink. And we're back up top. I'm just gonna go ahead and take my Physan solution and give my workspace a quick disinfecting spray. and then we will bring the orchid back on in. So the great news is this plant is in actually pretty great condition. I'll bring you in closer so you can take another look. There are very, very few dead and decaying roots, but I am going to find the ones that I am sure are dead and go ahead and get them removed. Alright guys, trimming was actually pretty minimal, so now let's go ahead and bring in the glass container and leca beads and get this guy repotted. So by this point, we're all pretty familiar with the process. I'm going to go ahead and place some leca beads into my glass container, but I'm going to be sure to place them all the way up to where I have the reservoir holes. And the objective there is to ensure that the existing root system isn't just sitting in water. Again, if the root system decides to grow downward into the water, that'll be just fine because those roots have acclimated and adapted to that environment, but you don't just put them in it. So let's go ahead and do that. So there's that. Now let's go ahead and place our beautiful plant. All right, you guys, I think we've done it. So everything is repotted. It's looking really nice. And as always, I have placed the identifier on the back side of the plant so I can always figure out exactly what it is in case my memory fails me. And the last thing there is to do is to just go ahead and give this a good flush of my fertilized water solution. So let's head over to the sink and I will show you how that's done. And that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, I invite you to leave any comments, questions, concerns, suggestions in the comments section below. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and happy growing. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great day.